What's going on, everyone? This video is going to be short and sweet. The SPY made new all-time highs. We shorted the NASDAQ perfectly as it crossed below this trend line. On the bounce back up, we bought into the IWM calls perfectly. We have been slaughtering the market perfectly on both sides. All right. All of my plays on Twitter for the past 3 weeks, I have a 75% success rate. I'm going to, once I hit 1 month of live trades that I've been sharing, I'm going to share all of the details live, publicize it for you guys. But everything is literally timestamped on my Twitter. I post all of these plays. You can see my history. If you've been following me for, weeks and months now, you'll see that I understand. Like, look, this is not hard. Like making money on the stock market, you just have to overcome a few hurdles at first. And then after that, everything is just very simple. Anyone can learn how to do this. The second you start thinking that it's hard or impossible to learn how to do this, it's going to take you much longer. Okay? So the number one thing, just stay disciplined, continue working hard. Anyone can make money doing this. Anyone. All right? You don't need to be genetically a freak. You don't need to be tall or athletic. You just need some sort of brain power and discipline. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into the video. If you guys enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's get right into it. SPY clearly made new all-time highs. It fell down. We were very oversold on the MACD. We bounced very nicely at these levels of support. We keyed off of the IWM being extremely overextended to the downside to know that that was support in the market, which is why I alerted to IWM calls after already being short on the market. Okay, so once we saw the NASDAQ break its upward trend line and fall a bit lower, we sold the puts perfectly, and then we bought into IWM calls. All right, so now the SPY clearly made new all-time highs. We can see that the MACD is now a bit overbought here. The RSI is getting close to being overbought as well, but it's not yet there. And I mean, look, like the next level of resistance is going to be this black trend line here that has been acting as support all throughout the coronavirus and this, entire rally. All right. So now, as you can see, this black trend line, check it out. 1 support, 2 support, 3 support, like multiple touches. It's been acting as support, and now it is acting as resistance. Okay. So we don't really have resistance until, the mid 440s. Okay. Aside from that, we have to key off of the rest of the other indices to see where there is resistance. Okay. Because currently there's no resistance on the SPY for the next few points. Okay. And really, we have to see how the SPY now responds in this channel, in this upward channel. We can fall back down to 437.92. Find some sort of a support, and if we also find support along this blue uptrend line, which is also another support level from the coronavirus that we've also been monitoring, this can be a very decent level of support, a good buy opportunity. We've been rallying for the past few days, so we do need some sort of a relief, a sell-off just a bit for people to take profit. So it's going to be interesting to see how the SPY responds around 438 or this blue trend line. Okay. And then, of course, to the upside, the mid 440s. All right. One other thing to take a look at is that we have a very important week this week. All right. So Tesla is reporting earnings after the close today. Apple is going to be reporting earnings tomorrow. AMD, Microsoft, Google, Visa, JetBlue, all of these very, very large companies are going to be reporting earnings this week. Tuesday is going to be very important. Wednesday, we have Facebook, Ford, PayPal, Shopify, Boeing, Tillery, Qualcomm, McDonald's. This is ridiculous. This week is very, very important. Thursday, Amazon, Pinterest. Look at all, this is a lot. ExxonMobil, Caterpillar, Procter & Gamble. Lots and lots of big companies are reporting earnings this week, so we have to be vigilant how this will affect the tech sector as well as the overall market. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and check out the IWM. So now we can see that the IWM is clearly at resistance at this 220.87 level, which is a 50% Fibonacci level, right? And we can see that it's much more overbought on the MACD than the SPY. So the SPY, it isn't as overbought and it's making new highs. Whereas the IWM, it's more overbought, but it's failing at resistance. So this is a bearish signal on the IWM until proven otherwise. So we need to start trading comfortably on the IWM above 220.87 and then comfortably above 224. Okay? If the IWM does well, then economically sensitive stocks, for example, space, financial sector, many of these smaller stocks do well when the IWM or the Russell 2000 does well. Okay, so the IWM currently is looking very, very bad compared to the other two indices. It hasn't moved up as much, right? So, yeah, I mean, another thing we could look at is the 10-year yield. So the 10-year yield, obviously yesterday, today, it was up 1.3%, which could indicate why the IWM did better than the other two indices. You can see the IWM outperformed. So it was up 0.29%, whereas the NASDAQ was only up 0.8%, and the SPY was only up 0.25%. But yeah, overall, this does look bearish on the IWM. If it fails above 220.87, it can fall back down to the 218 levels and this trend line here. So we need to monitor how the IWM will respond between 217 and 218.50. Okay, we need to see how those levels respond. Because if the IWM does begin to fall, then we need to monitor how the MACD responds. Okay, because the MACD currently looks very, very bearish. It's failing at resistance, but the MACD became very overbought, which is not a good sign. Okay, so there's the IWM, there's the earnings calendar, there's the 10-year yield. Now let's go ahead and check out the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ clearly made new all-time highs today as well. We closed green, which is a good sign. Now the next level of support that we need to monitor on the NASDAQ is 365.49. We are back to almost touching this uptrend line that we've been monitoring. We went short as we crossed below this trend line. We were short for a few days. I closed out of my shorts and I alerted it on Twitter at 354 and switched completely into IWM calls on this day. Made a killing. A lot of you guys made lots of money in throughout here as well, which was amazing. Now we can see that the MACD on the NASDAQ is not as overbought, which means that there is much more strength in the NASDAQ compared to the SPY and the IWM currently. Okay, but of course, we have lots of earnings coming out this week for all of the FANG stocks, essentially. So if those stocks begin to report bad earnings, then the NASDAQ will most likely fall. Okay, so it is very, very important to, be vigilant and not hold many swings because, honestly, earnings can go either way. You can hold calls, and then if the stock reports bad earnings, then your calls are going to be worthless, which is why it's much better to focus on day trading, especially during earnings season. So yeah, the NASDAQ, you can see that it's also overbought on the RSI. It looks very strong on the MACD, but this week is earnings season, so we need to be vigilant. Otherwise, it made new all-time highs. We bounced off of that level of support. Look, this is perfect. It doesn't get any more simple. We just stick to the levels and we trade the levels blindly. We don't care how we feel about, oh my God, the economy is bad. What? How is the stock market going up? Just stick to the levels, focus on the chart, tune out the noise, and learn what to focus on. So, obviously you have to watch the news, you have to be vigilant. But for the past year, people have been saying the stock market is overvalued. Oh my God, the economy is bad. Yes, the economy is bad. But the stock market and the economy are completely two different things. Okay? So please understand that, and you will make lots of money in probably one of the most historical times in US history. Okay, so yeah, there's the NASDAQ. We can go ahead and check out the 30-year yield now. So the 30-year yield, we are forming some sort of a support above 163. We can see that we're now oversold on the MACD. The RSI is flattening out as well. So this is a good sign. We could end up breaking down below 163 and retesting this uptrend line that we've been in. But yeah, this is going to be the main level of, support on the 30-year yield. So yeah, as long as this is intact, really, then the NASDAQ should continue going on higher, especially if the dollar can continue, being bullish. Overall, I mean, the dollar still looks very, very bullish as well. The MACD is oversold as well. The RSI moved down sharply, even though, we didn't move as sharply in, the downward move on the dollar. So that's bullish still. Yeah, I mean, that's really it for the overall stock market. We can go ahead and look at crude oil now. Crude oil made a ridiculous reversal. So you can see that we were also trading outside of the lower level of the B bands here on July 20th. I think that is the day. So that was the day after. So, I mean, we caught the IWM down here perfectly because we were trading outside of the lower level of the B band. We opened up here. So that is a very good sign to go long. And that's exactly what we did. And the same thing essentially happened on crude oil. We opened up outside of the B bands and it bounced very, very dramatically upward. It made back over 50% of this downward move. And now we need to see if it stays above the 38.2% fib level at 7109. Overall, if crude oil is still intact and doesn't vomit, then the overall stock market will remain intact. So that's a good sign as well. There's my analysis for the overall stock market. Now let's go ahead and check out the crypto markets. So here is Bitcoin on a non-log chart. So obviously today, we had a huge spike up all the way up to like 40,500. And we couldn't close above those levels yet because we are at still two very important levels of resistance. This blue downtrend line here, that's clearly been acting as support and then acting as resistance. We are literally at that level right now. We still have 2 hours left for the daily candle to close, but this level needs to be broken above. And then, of course, this green trend line here, which was acting as support, and then once we broke down, this is the log on the log chart. This was acting as support, and once we broke down below it, this signaled the short signal all the way back down to 30,000. Okay, so this trend line on the log chart is this trend line on the non-log chart. Okay, so these are two very, very important levels of resistance that Bitcoin still needs to cross above and close above. If Bitcoin can close above these two levels, specifically this green trend line here, that is going to be amazing, in my opinion. We just need to close above this. Okay, look, go into your log chart, click log, right? Go on Bitcoin and go to November 26th. Okay, draw a trend line and connect the bottom from November 26th to the bottom of December 11th. Okay, and then extend the trend line to the right, all the way to the right. Choose settings, right? Extend to the right. Cool. You're gonna get something like this. You're gonna get the exact same line as me, hopefully. Okay. This is what it looks like on the log chart. So now you click non-log, and you still have those two levels connected, but now this is acting as clear resistance. So if we get above this level here and close above this level here, that is going to be amazing and will signal a continuation of the bull market. Okay. But for now, the main level that we need to cross above for today, we need to close. If we can close above, check this out. If we can close above 37,100, today on Bitcoin, on the daily candle, that is a good sign as well. Okay, not as great, but you know, it's much better than being down here in the 30s. So yeah, that's really it on Bitcoin. Overall, the crypto market is popping off, but it needs to show some sort of follow through. All right, let's check out Ethereum. So Ethereum, you know, also it had a bit of a rally above these two important levels of resistance here at 2316 and 2341. Of course, we've been monitoring those levels as well, but we need a close. We need a close above those levels. Otherwise, this doesn't really mean anything. Okay, so yeah, overall, you can see that the MACD on Ethereum is now overbought. The RSI is getting close to being overbought. Let's check out Bitcoin. Yeah, so the RSI is getting close to overbought as well, and the MACD is now overbought. So let's just hope that this creates some sort of a continuation. My prediction is if we close above this level, what is going to happen is we're going to come back, potentially retest 36,500, and then make a, you know, another run for this trend line here. We need to just close above these two trend lines. If we can close at 37,150 to be safe today, 37,150. Or today, if we close above 38,150, then that is going to be very, very bullish for the entire crypto market. And I think that we can potentially even see 45,000 very quickly. So yeah, it all depends on where we close today. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to follow, you know, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends and family. Follow me on Twitter. I share amazing plays there that, you know, people that charge don't. But yeah, have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.